Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to Harness the Shift, the Talk Soul podcast, where we host real conversations with thought leaders, healers, and everyday people who are awakening and breaking free from the systems that have kept us stuck. This is where we go beyond the ego, beyond the illusion, and talk truth. Because real power begins when you stop performing and start aligning with your soul. We're not here to preach. We're here to hold space for real work, to work on waking up, evolving, and staying free. This episode is brought to you by LifeWave, a sponsor that aligns with our mission of health, wellness, and transformation. Stick around for a quick message from LifeWave before we get started, and check out the link in the description to learn how their technology can support your well-being. Let's harness the shift and soul talk radio style.
But our bodies are masterpieces of design, holding the potential to bounce back better than ever. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality, enhancing the body's flow of natural energy. For improvements in strength, stamina, performance, and overall health and well-being, with the simplicity of an affordable, non-invasive, non-transdermal patch. As we age, levels of these life-enhancing elements, which are associated with wellness and longevity, begin to decline. LifeWave invested 10 years into stem cell research, which resulted in over 70 patents. X39 was born to bring to the public a product that can support wellness in an entirely new way, supporting the production of younger, healthier cells with wearable light technology. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. Harness your body's natural potential to maintain youthful energy and vitality, because life comes at you fast, but it doesn't have to pass you by. Live long, live well, live young. Be the light with LifeWave X39. LifeWave.
Oh, I'm telling you, I've had some crazy military stories.
I know.
Getting in trouble. I got into a little bit of trouble in Germany, and when you're not when you don't live your life from a perspective of true authenticity, you can attract people that, will take advantage of you, or may not be the best person for you. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, they'll use you as a stepping stone.
Absolutely.
They're gonna know that you're not gonna be status quo, and so they're gonna be able to use that to their advantage.
Absolutely.
Yes, I saw that in the military too, and that's why I only stayed 6 years, and that's why I mentioned it was a mutual agreement. There's a story there. Let me just tell you, there's a whole movie in itself just on my military experience. I can't
can
even
imagine.
Holy cow. I'm talking Secretary of the Air Force was involved.
Oh, wow.
The White House was involved. Yeah, it was wild. And all they wanted to do was shut it down, sweep it under the carpet, and I was like, "Oh no. We're not going to do that." I took it to the news, local news. Yeah, it was a little blurb. Little 10 seconds.
Stuff going on, corruption at the base?
Well, yeah, it was it was wild. It was wild. I mean, you remember that movie A Few Good Men with Jack Nicholson?
Oh yeah.
You Can't Handle the Truth, that guy?
Yeah.
I actually kind of went through that situation. I lived that scenario in the real world, in the real military, where the commander was on the stand and the attorney was trying to get him to break, And that was the whole goal of the whole entire thing, is to get the commander of the base to break, and he finally got him to break and admit, yes, I ordered the code red. And I went through that, and it wasn't about murder, but it was a different subject, not quite as deep as murder, but nonetheless, I was looking at 20 years,
Oh my God.
Leavenworth. And so, yeah, I mean, just another chapter, a couple chapters in the book, but
Well,
yeah.
it's about power, right? And and I think that happens. It happens in civilian sector, and it happens in the military sector where people are accused wrongly
Hmm.
and are railroaded and end up, sometimes taking the fall for these people who are literally criminal.
Well, that's a fact. I mean, I was definitely railroaded, definitely in
Wow.
all the senses. But and people around me were railroaded that were innocent victims and bystanders, and careers were ruined. And
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, it was wild. And that's, like I said, that's just one episode of talking to you on here, and maybe
Yeah.
chapters in the book. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So we can go on for hours and hours, or break it down into chunks, whatever you want to do.
Well, I definitely got to have you back on. I think this is like pretty enticing. I mean, uh, we can definitely go. I mean, you have a story. I have a story. There's, you know, crazy. I've had an amazing but crazy life.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things that I've seen, I'm just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
things that uh, well, I mean, I was in medevac. There's a lot of nonsense that goes on in that world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in the whole flying world. When you're flying with, you know, flight mechanics and pilots and flight nurses and flight docs and on three different types of aircraft, and there's a lot that goes on. A lot of shadiness, a lot of uh, people living for the things of this world, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I have one question though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you're living tonight. Are you not? Did you guys move back from Cancun, or are you guys doing part time?
Well, I was down there by myself. I took a one-way ticket and one
Oh,
suitcase, and I went down there to lay down the groundwork. And the plan was to have my wife come join. And things took a different turn. But yeah, the original plan was to have her come down. We were going to live down there and work down there, and visit here for vacation
mm,
instead of going down there for vacation. And
yeah,
so, but yeah, so things changed. I figure sometime this year I'm probably going to end up taking care of my dad.
yeah,
He's getting, we're at that age. You've lost both
mhm,
your parents already, which
yeah,
you lost your parents fairly younger ages,
yeah.
which isn't typical typically. Um, but yeah, so I come back to anticipating that, and end up going to my mom's funeral, which was not even on the radar.
I'm
Uh,
so sorry for your
yeah,
loss.
yeah, it was wild. It was wild. But you talked about seeing your mom suffer, and talking to God and just taking her and not having her suffer. And
Yeah.
uh, my mom suffered, I think, a little bit for the last month or so, but it was by herself, and she wouldn't let anybody know. And she by the time she was removed from her home and taken to the hospital, she only lived 3 days.
Oh,
But I think that last 30 days she was not doing too well at her house by herself. But again, she was people were reaching out, but she was not allowing them to enter, so to speak.
Oh.
But she had different issues. She was a hoarder, and she had some mental challenges, and you would never know it talking to her. But she was also
Yeah.
a victim of being taken by the Indians and the Haitians.
No.
So elder abuse, financial elder abuse, I think is what they call it. She was a
Oh.
victim of that to the tune of at least 100,000, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And that goes on so much. Where
It's unbelievable.
just and it truly it's it's like you see the degradation of society, right? Where folks are not protecting children and folks are not protecting the elderly, these most vulnerable populations. In fact,
Just getting
they're
taken advantage of left
taking
and right.
advantage of them. It's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah. It's just unbelievable. But here's the thing. Uh, a lot of times, you can't stop it. In this case, we couldn't stop it. My sister, got to the point of harassment where,
Mm.
I had to basically tell my sister, you got to stop. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And she's not going to stop. She knows she's not talking to Luke Bryan, but she wants to think she's talking to Luke Bryan.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, the country singer.
Mhm.
Um, but like I said, on the outside, you would never know. She's just the most loving, caring person on the planet. But the people that are close to her know that she's got a mental illness, and the more you try to intervene, the further away she pushes.
Yeah.
And that's part of the disease of being a hoarder and having those types of mental illnesses.
Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Mhm.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, she didn't die of hoarding, by the way. She died of cancer. She ended up having like stage 4 cervical cancer or something that was metastasized to her bones and body, and
Oh.
yeah, it was just she did not look good there those last couple days. She was a bag of bones.
Oh God.
But we were able to talk and have a good conversation. She was in and out of it from just sheer exhaustion. Those last 2 or 3 days, people coming in
Mhm.
and family visiting, and
Right.
in and out of consciousness by exhaustion. Um, but yeah, everybody got to have their time with her and say their goodbyes, and my wife's a hospice nurse, and so she sees this play out often, every day, every week, every day, and she said that my mom's death was one of the nicest deaths she's witnessed, and she's witnessed hundreds and
Wow.
hundreds of deaths the last 7 years of being a hospice nurse, and she said it was just beautiful. It was, uh, it was nice to hear because she sees that stuff. That's her arena. That's my wife's arena, and but yeah, it was nice. I guess for considering death, it was nice.
Yeah, to not just that end be peaceful.
Yeah, and it was, and she wasn't delusional, and she wasn't scared, and you know, I'd been planting
Oh.
seeds for about a year. This past year, planting seeds, with her walk or lack of with Jesus,
Yeah.
and I think that I can confidently say she got straightened out. Whether it's in the last 6 months or 12 months, she definitely, you know, had a moment and accepted Christ as her savior. And one of the stamps, one of those, like, okay, that definitely lets me know for sure. At least in my heart, uh, towards the last day, like the day that she died, a Catholic priest came in and was asking her about her religious preferences, and my aunt was standing there, and my sister was standing there, and some of the family's Catholic, and most of them aren't anything, and some of them are Catholic, and some of them are Christian, and my sister basically said, "Oh, she's basically nothing. She just, she has no preference." And my mom piped right up and said, "No, that's not true." She goes, "I'm a Christian," and
Wow.
and so for my mom to even say those words was is a milestone. So I was very comfortable that the seeds that were planted the last year and a half, sending her our daily devotionals, making her part of my circle of daily devotionals that
Yeah.
I send out, and yeah, so it was good. It was good. It was not hard. It was not sad. I mean, of course, it was sad in its normal funeral way, but overall, it was really, really a good thing.
Well, I'm glad that you had that opportunity. It's so important, at the end to be able to have that opportunity.
Not everybody gets that. That's for
No,
sure.
they don't. They don't. And, I was there when my mom passed. I wasn't there when my dad passed. The dad thing kind of, we knew he wasn't doing well, but we didn't expect it to happen the way that it happened. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he just went in his sleep, and I was like, thank God.
Best case scenario. Let's go.
Thank God, because look, my dad was a Marine, and he the guy, I think he had 9 lives. He
Yeah.
had been shot. He had been, had health problems, almost stroked out. Like he was shot in high school. Crazy life,
Well,
and
God knew he would have held on and held on and fought and fought
yeah,
and fought, so God
yeah,
just took him instantly.
yeah, yeah.
That's beautiful. That's a love
It
story.
is it is a beautiful thing, um, and it wasn't meant for me to be there, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Everything happens the way that it's supposed to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a divine order, right? There's a
Absolutely.
way that
100%.
we're all going to, leave the meat suit behind and,
Mm-hmm.
and transcend on to, wherever we go,
Mm-hmm.
and and it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and I've come to peace with it. I think over the last month I've been dealing with a little bit because my uncle just passed away at the end of
Mm-hmm.
February, my dad's older brother, and it was 7 years after my dad. So
Was he like the favorite uncle?
he was the one that played for the Bears, and he created a legacy where he built his own business. He was an executive headhunter, and I had all these grandchildren, and there's no grandchildren for my dad because none of us had kids, but
Mm-hmm.
he had all these grandchildren, and just such a he had 4 kids, and then I think, let's see, one of his kids has 3, the other one has 1, and the other one has 1. So he had like 5 grandchildren, and you know he just left an amazing legacy. So it was a beautiful service. It was nothing to be sad about because he had an amazing life, and um, he was not doing well because he had end-stage Alzheimer's. So um, when I saw him in October, I was grateful that I was able, to spend some time with him, even though you really didn't know who I was. You know, I did get to see a side that was more kid-like and more playful, which I'm grateful. So, yeah, and then processing that after I got home, and processing some things maybe that I didn't heal from with my father's death. Uh, yeah, I'm kind of coming out of the fog, getting myself moving again, and it's spring and it's time to get rocking and rolling. And I think once I get off the phone here with you, or the podcast, I'm gonna go and we're gonna go for a little hike before the sun goes down.
Well, it sounds like you're in a really, really interesting transition in your
I
life,
am. I
and
am.
it sounds really amazing. And to walk through this and share it with the world is going to be a blessing for quite a few people, I think. And I think that it's going to be a blessing for people that listen, a blessing for you. It's going to be healing for a lot of people, including yourself. And so, let's just air it all out. Let's just air it all out. We'll bounce our war stories off each other, and I know a lot of people are going to relate, and we're going to touch a lot of people and a lot of different ways.
Absolutely. I think you can, you know, it's like I said earlier, it's not my job to judge anyone, right? And this life is that you're given, you make choices, and sometimes you make good choices, and then you do end up getting caught up in some things. And that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. And I think there's got to be this shift, right, where we shift away from the judgment and the blame, and we shift into this season of accountability, even with our own self, right? And
Especially with ourselves.
yes, and being able to forgive ourselves for some of the things and process those emotions and that pain and that trauma that we've gone through.
Yeah, you got to fight demons of ego and pride.
Ego and pride and
I'm still battling those
shame.
bastards.
Yeah, and shame. Shame's another is another nice little demon that likes to show up every now and again to make you feel like crap. And it's like, we're just here trying to figure it out. We're given this life, and no one says, "Hey, this is what you do, A, B, C, D, D." You just got to figure it out. And we've been in this survival mode, and I feel like this shift, this harness the shift that I talk about, is we're moving into the season of accountability, forgiveness, but also where we're learning a valuable attribute and an attribute that was embodied by Christ, which is compassion. Because I don't know, I can't feel what you feel, I can't go through that, but I can sit back, listen to your story, and I can have compassion for you in that situation, right? And this is what we need to learn, because when we can learn compassion, then we can also learn forgiveness and self-love, right? And step into our purpose from a healed, true, authentic version of ourselves, our best version of ourselves, the version that God has always known. And so that's what it's all about. It's about questioning and being open to any and all information, and questioning even our deepest beliefs, because we've been lied to just about everything. Everything is corrupted. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it in such an empowering way.
Well, it's just an unshakable fact, first of all.
Yes.
So, yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that. I've come to the realization these last couple of years that, I guess I would be considered a conspiracy theorist, black web awareness. I have an awareness of the black web.
Yeah. Yep.
I've told people things like my mom or my dad or a friend, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And then all of a sudden, a week later, they're like, "I was over at Gus and Sue's house, and I told them what you said, and their son was like, yeah, oh yeah, he's right, and their son said everything you said." I couldn't believe it, and I'm just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
Right?
Don't
You're
listen to
like,
me. Yeah,
I told you
yeah,
that like 4 years ago.
yeah. Don't listen to me. Yeah,
You weren't listening to me. It's funny. I've
Gus and
had
Sherry's
friends.
son, 12-year-old son. Yeah, listen to him.
Oh God. You know what? I have to tell you, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Ben. My friend Ben, he lives in Ohio. He sent me something. I'm not going to say what it was, but he sent me something, and I'm like, yeah, I tried to tell you this like 3 years ago, and you wouldn't listen to me. I was a conspiracy theorist, right? And he was like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening now. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was like a humbling experience for me because, we have to understand we're breaking through psychological programming, cognitive dissonance, and this is a hard thing. This is a hard thing. And we just have to, God is calling us to be very patient. And I see a lot of impatience going on a daily. And,
Well, ignorance is bliss. I was much
oh,
more
big
happy when I
time.
didn't know any of this stuff.
I know, right? But were you? I know I wasn't.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It
think
was
I'm
fake
happier
happiness.
now well, because I know the truth
Yeah.
and I can sit back and I know there's something working out there. It's palpable. I can see things. And I'm like, it's just a matter of time. And I'm not in control. And this is the thing. Human beings, we're control freaks. We want to be in control. Our ego wants to be in control all the time. And it was funny because my ego, it was popping in my head yesterday. Oh, you think you're this love and light person and you just told that guy to F off and you're horrible. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He deserved it. He
Yeah.
deserved it. Because you should have seen the look on his face. He was shocked that I confronted him.
Yeah.
And we have to call people out on their shit.
I'm
And even
telling
if
you.
they gaslight us, call them out anyway.
No, I'm with you.
Because
I'm
it's
with
like,
you.
wait a minute. What are you in a big hurry for? To go
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you, invest in a train horn. I'm telling
I
you.
I would love it. I
Go,
would
hey,
love
listen.
it.
Go to the Horn Blasters website on IG and just watch some videos. They have tons of videos. They actually had my video on there, and
Oh
it
God, I love it.
got over 100,000 views. And yeah, I don't know where it's probably buried 3 years, 4 or 5 years back, whatever. But yeah, it was. I try to use it at least once a day. One of my favorite one of my favorite pastimes. Oh gosh, this is gonna sound so bad, but whatever. I think it's kind of fun at around 3 o'clock when school gets out at junior high or middle school, and just roll through, along and just blast that train horn. I swear these middle school kids take off like deer. They're jumping fences. They're running in every direction. They're like jumping fences that are 10 feet high and they're hurdling them. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. It's probably not really nice, but it sure is fun.
You know what? You know what? It cracks me up because it's something my dad would do. So
Shoot.
I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. You just get a kick
Yeah.
out of it.
It's not a good Christian thing to do, but you know what? I know that God died for my sins. Jesus died for my sins, and I'll answer for it. I'll answer for it. I'm going to answer for a
Yeah.
lot more than that, I can assure you.
Well, all you can walk the path and do the best you can, but folks are challenging. Folks are challenging. I love people, but they are challenging, and especially challenging right now. And you know, in this world that we're living right now, it's pretty bonkers.
The challenging part is it is bonkers, and the challenging part is to not have, for me personally, is to have patience with these
Yes.
clearly retarded people. And I'm going to bring back the word retarded. I don't care what anybody thinks. Some people are going to be offended. And it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay because I have a lot of retarded people in my family, so I can say that.
Oh
I
God.
have a lot of retarded relatives. You know, some people would consider me retarded.
Well, let me look up the definition of retarded, okay?
Oh shoot! No,
Because
no.
let's keep it real. Because
Yeah.
I'm flowing with this because you know around my special folks that word has come to light, because let's look at it from a psychological level, okay?
Oh, all right.
Um, hold on. I don't know why that does that. Let me turn that down. Definition. Um,
Go ahead, read it. Here we go.
okay. Now, you know, the Bible says it's an outdated and offensive term, but let's think about this. It's a person with an intellectual disability, a developmentally delayed individual. And it's funny that you say this because we have folks that have been so programmed, psychologically programmed, that I don't know if they will be able to break free from that.
Well, TDS is a real thing, and
Yes, it is.
I think you can consider those people retarded.
Well, when you lack the critical, and this all goes back to the whole psyops, right? When you are uh, when you are predictively programming a population via Hollywood, when you are using the mainstream media to put out relentless propaganda that is saying a certain person is XYZ, but you have an entire body of people that have done nothing but sold us out
For decades.
you know,
For decades.
for decades.
We're talking
And
like almost 100 years, if not more.
yeah, for some of these folks, the critical thinking it's not there anymore. And I don't, I asked about this in the beginning, like when I started to wake up, what about these folks? Like, what are we going to do to help these folks? Because some of them are truly, like, they're out of touch. They're really out of touch.
I want to open up a chain of insane asylums, and make them like McDonald's or Burger King, where everything is the same, and you just kind of thank you, please drive through, and just make a racket of money.
Yeah, I mean, there is a thing called retardation. I mean, it has become a term that, that they say is outdated and it's offensive. But here's the thing, like, when we're offended, there's a lack of emotional intelligence. There's a lack of an ability to be in control of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. When you cannot be in control of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, then you lack emotional intelligence. You just do. And there is an intellectual disability when you're not able to integrate information that is clearly in black and white now. It's out there. Like there's a lot of subjects that have been debunked, and conspiracy theorists have been proven to be correct. So when people are saying that's not true, and they don't have the willingness to go look it up, then that's an intellectual disability when you're not able to critically think. That we have such amazing strengths as human beings. God put us on this earth, gave us critical thinking skills, survival skills where we could differentiate from different patterns in nature. Trees, that's why trees are different, the depth perception, things like that. There's reasons why we have these gifts, because it's important for us to navigate in this lifetime. And when we're constantly, listening to, and look, I'm calling them all out. All of mainstream media, including Fox, they're all programming.
Absolutely.
Hollywood's programming.
Absolutely.
You have to be willing to open yourself up to any and all information, and that includes people that have been out here that are independent journalists, that have their own channels on Telegram. You have people that are ex-military that really understand the whole, what's going on, like with regard to our government and the Constitution and the things being, decisions that are being made.
Yep.
And yeah, it's pretty stunning that some folks are truly upset at the people that are finding the corruption, but not at the corruption itself.
It's unbelievable. I mean, what kind of mental illness is that? Does that fall under TDS, or is that something different?
I think a lot of it too is that we're living in different realities.
Boy.
Of this, they've created a matrix. This is an illusion. It really truly is. This is not the same way of life that we had when we were in our 20s.
No. This is the brainwashed and the non-brainwashed.
Yes. And where, you had a beef with someone, you talked it out, or you duked it out, or, you said what you had to say, and people were cool with that. And, but look, we're Gen Xers.
Mm-hmm.
We're a different breed. And if you look around, the majority, and I'm not knocking anybody that's, a millennial that's trying to make a difference in what's going on, because there are some out there that are really getting involved, that are pro-humanity, and, also the Gen Zs. But, when all this stuff kicked off with, the pandemic, it was mostly the Gen Xers that were really out here creating a shitstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they understand. We understand. We haven't forgotten our history. They don't teach. I did not know this, but do you know most of these kids don't even know how to write in cursive?
Yes. They stopped teaching cursive probably 15, 20 years ago.
And that's crazy, because our Constitution is written in cursive.
Yep, 100%.
And
we were one of the last generations, I think, to learn cursive.
Yeah. It's pretty nuts. What's going on is truly, from a psychological standpoint, a crime against humanity. What they've done with their psychological, I think people don't understand that we have what's called a military-industrial complex. Big Pharma's involved in that. big medicine is involved in that. You got a branch of the military that's involved in all of that. They serve the cabal. They serve the people that actually run the show here. Because in 1871, we were, our Constitution, we were sold out, right? And that's when they started to usher in the central bank. And I know a lot of people are upset about the digital, the digital currency. We've been digital, okay? Our money isn't even worth the paper it's printed on.
It's true.
And people get so upset. The money, it's not worth anything. It's worthless. And, they're upset about that. And you have people over here that are like, oh, Trump's the Antichrist and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm not going to live my life thinking everybody is out to get me and that there is no good in the world. I'm not going to do that. I've taken this back to God, I don't know how many times, and I've discerned and discerned and discerned, and I look at it all. It's like it's divisive. Every bit of it. They separate us by political affiliation, by the color of our skin, by gender. All this that they want to usher in that just doesn't make any sense, goes totally against what God created on this earth, like, or for this earth, like man and woman. I mean, they serve a purpose. There's a, physical, mental, spiritual. Everybody serves a purpose, right? And it's just stunning to see some of what's been going on. And I don't have the energy to convince anyone to see what I see. If you don't see it, then I don't know what to say, because when the shit really hits the fan, I don't know. Maybe you'll see it then. I don't know, but
yeah, hopefully
it's coming. I believe it's coming. There's definitely, like I said, we're moving into a season of accountability. There is going to be accountability. This is what I get from the Spirit, that there will be. It's already happening. And it's like, and it's you see the impatientness that, he's not, it's like, are you kidding me? He's done more in the last 90 days than we've seen in the last, 4 years. And people are still not satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't anybody getting arrested? Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? And, he's in on it. And it's like,
anything to distract from the good that's happening.
Yeah, anything to distract from the good that's happening, but also everything to distract people from doing the inner work that they need to do. Because it's all fear at the end of the day. Fear is tied to shame, is tied to judgment, is tied to despair. It's all fear. And when we're in that vibration, we're literally killing ourselves.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
When you're constantly worrying about things that you have no control. The only thing you can control is what's in front of you. That's
right.
it. And so what are you going to do if something, you do what you got to do? There's no need to talk about it. There's no need to, rant and rave about it. Like, this is why it's so important to, get healthy and take care of yourself so that you're not dependent on a system that's crumbling. Literally. The healthcare system is crumbling. The banking system's crumbling. And, you know, I believe it has to. So, I don't know. And if people want to call me a conspiracy theorist, they can call me that all day long. I don't get offended.
No,
I don't care.
I thank him. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it's true. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
It's
that.
so true. Thank you. Yeah. It's you know, I think it's an amazing time to be alive. I think going into this season, it's not for everybody, and not everybody's going to make it. And you know, I think in the beginning I was naive to that. I really wanted, okay, and we're going to save everybody. It's just not. Some folks have just they don't grasp, they don't see what's going on at all. You know,
Their heads are completely in the sand.
Oh, completely. I mean, you know, I know you got to go, but last night, get this. So I live in Oregon. I stopped because my lighter, I have a lighter and I can't find any of the other lighters that I have to like light my candles and my incense and things.
Uh-huh.
And so I stopped at the gas station over here at Fred Meyer's. And I said, I need a lighter. Oh, okay, yeah, oh, right here, whatever. I need to see your ID. I'm like, excuse me?
For a lighter?
I said, for a lighter. He said, yeah, we have to start carding for lighters. I go, says who? Says the state of Oregon.
Wow.
I said, you do realize how communist that is? And he just looked at me like, well, you know, and I'm like,
I'm just doing what I'm told.
But yet they're not asking for IDs at the border.
No, of course not.
But you want to radiate me when I come through TSA. You want my firstborn when I come through TSA.
Yeah, don't get me started about TSA.
You want me to do this biometrics, which I do not consent to that, and I'm going to say that to anybody listening to this. You do not have to consent to that. Do not consent to the biometrics through TSA. TSA has no jurisdiction at all. It's super unconstitutional. It was I think the 14th Amendment that they eroded during the Obama administration with the whole 9/11 thing for them to take away a freedom. Now, I'm not saying there doesn't need to be security at our airports, but come on, you guys are getting a little bit ridiculous.
A little bit? Yeah, that's a good word. A little bit.
Mm-hmm. No, a lot of it.
A lot of it.
A lot. You know, like, you got to have the real ID and all this stuff, and it's like, well, really?
Yes.
We just had election interference in 2 different elections. That's a fact. And what most people don't understand, and they can want to argue, although I don't really give 2 shits, the military intelligence was watching the entire time.
That's right.
So, whatever.
That's right.
And it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out, and it's going to be in the history books that this was the biggest sting operation ever.
I sure hope they put it in the history books.
Yeah, I do too.
So, all right, Jamie. Well, let's do this again.
Yes, let's do it. And it was such a great conversation. And I think diving deep, you know, we just kind of chatted a little bit, and I think that's fun. But yeah, we should, you know, think about like what you want to talk about for the next one, and then we'll just kind of hit it.
shoot,
We'll just
whatever.
start at the beginning.
Whatever, I mean, wherever it goes, we can talk about chemtrails. We can talk
Oh
about.
my God! Right?
We can talk about autism rates. We can
Oh
talk
yeah.
about mainstream media, Nazis. We can talk about, we can ruffle people's feathers about being Palestinian supporters or Israeli supporters or both. I mean, we can
Well, I
ruffle.
think most people don't understand that they're part of the problem. That's all part of it's all part they're part of the problem.
Yeah, they have no idea.
Yeah, like they run the country.
Yeah.
Because they're part of the cabal.
Yeah.
But
People have no idea.
what do I know?
People have no idea. Stop making sense.
Right? I mean, it's like right here for you. It's right here. And then look, and I'm not saying every rabbit hole is the truth, okay? There's a lot of disinformation out there, but you have to be able to discern. And when you are not connected to the divine on a daily, going to church on Sunday ain't enough.
No.
You got to be sitting with God on a daily in this war. And if you're not, you're going to be hurting right about now. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that. People are losing their minds. And
yes.
this is in the scripture. This is in the scripture.
You have to be in communication, constant communication.
You have to.
With the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely. Because there's so much going on. And you also have to understand that you've got to stay on the high. You have to stay up here. You can't be bringing yourself down. You got to stay up there and understand that everything that's happening is happening the way that it's supposed to happen. And I think the more that people push, instead of planting seeds, they tell people instead of asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
There's power in planting the seed, and then you let it go and let God. And I think, we've been the last 5 years. It's like, well, the last 8-9 years, it's been like you want to beat it into people, and I don't think that's been working very well. And we have to start asking questions, because that's what engages the critical thinking skills. So
That's right.
Yeah.
But you can't argue with crazy. You can't have discussions with crazy people.
Right.
And like I said, I need to open up a chain of insane asylums. Bring back the straitjackets. I'm telling you, we'd be full to capacity every day, every year.
It's truly tragic. It's tragedy. It's a tragedy what we're seeing. And
mental illness is being celebrated instead of treated.
Yeah, it's a tragedy, and it literally, the suffering that people are creating for themselves, because they are so enveloped in their ego, and they are not willing to be open and ready to receive any and all information. I mean, it took me 2 years to get down that rabbit hole about the kids. It's not an easy rabbit hole to get down, and it's not
about the what?
It's not. This is not an easy life to be awake and know these things are going on. I've seen.
Ignorance is bliss. I'm telling you.
Oh,
Ignorance is bliss.
I see some things from the dark net with regard to that subject that I can't unseen.
Once you see certain things, you can't unsee things.
No. And it's there, it's a person. You can't say it's fake, because it's a person that, in whatever situation, you can't, people are, there's some very sick people in this world, and I don't think our parents really even realized how. I don't think they could have ever prepared us for this because they were programmed too.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother different couple chapters.
Man, I'm telling
where we
you.
grew up and how we grew up. I mean, yeah,
Right.
we haven't even touched those bases yet.
Oh, I know, I tell you. And well, this is the thing, this is why I wanted to create this podcast, is so that people start talking. The more that we can talk about our journey, we understand that, look, we've all been through the shit. And when you can talk to other people about it and they relate to what's going on, and although I've never been in that situation, I can relate to that. I understand how that can happen because I was in the military. I saw some things. And the shit really happens. And we have to, go through the shit in order to get on the other side of it, right? To be the best version of ourselves. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is to encourage people to do that. It was funny because I was telling a friend of mine the other day, I'm like, I really do not want to do one-on-one coaching. I don't think people are ready for that. I think there's a population of people that are ready for that, but I don't know. Like, I'm more of the group coaching. I think it's when we talk about things in a group setting, we can get different perspectives on people, from different people, because people are on their journey and they may have come across something similar, that we can integrate that information and those tools in order to heal. And that's really what it's about, because I truly believe 5 years from now, we're going to be in a different situation. And we're going to be well on our way to being, living the way that we should have been living, right?
Yeah.
Being taxed, which is unconstitutional, and then that money being laundered for their crime syndicates and enriching themselves. I mean, hey, you go back, you watch the inauguration in 2016. I've never seen a president inaugurated with military behind him. Okay, so it's like, hello,
Right.
And everything that's happened, we are definitely at war, that's for sure, and most people don't even realize it.
That's right.
We're just not in a kinetic war right now.
Heads in the sand.
Heads in the sand. Yep.
Big time.
Yeah. And then, and there's a lot of things that are going on, but are they going on? Or have they already happened and we're just seeing it? Or, because you start to listen to other news from like different countries, like Australia or, the UK or Germany, and you see things that are a little bit different. And that's what's so great about Telegram, because everybody from all over the world is on Telegram. So you really get the real deal, closer than what you would get from watching the mainstream media. I don't even watch the mainstream media, and I know what's going on more so than the folks that are watching the mainstream media.
Oh yeah, 100%. I haven't watched that in years.
Yeah. And I don't really dial in that much anymore, because, I'm trying to, because there comes a time where you have to not look at that when you're
definitely
on your spirit. Yeah, when you're on your spiritual journey, so that you can really fine tune your discernment.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh yeah, that's Biden 2.0, and and that's Kamala 2.0, and oh, that person's 2.0, and that's 2.0, and it's just like, and what? And it's like, you don't see that? I
Yep.
see it because I take breaks, but you have people that they're control freaks. They gotta be on it every day, and then they wonder why, they're not seeing what we're seeing, because when you don't allow the brain to just calm down a little bit, right? You got to step away, and but you can say that to your, people will step away when they're ready to step away, and
Yeah,
not a second
until then.
sooner, and not a second
Exactly.
sooner. And what's the craziest thing is,
But that's part of the programming.
yeah, right? They just stay in it, and they're
Clickbait.
miserable. They're literally miserable and just nasty. I mean,
Yeah.
some of these people that I interact with on social media are just, they're out of control.
Oh, I know. I see it.
I'm just
We
like,
all see him. We see him. We see
you have to question everything. Everything.
Yes.
And I truly believe that, that includes religion. Religion has been infiltrated, and this has also been used as a divisatory tactic. That's why we have to be sitting with God.
It always has. There's over, I don't know what, 500 plus religions worldwide created by man.
Oh yeah, created
All
by
of them
man.
been added to and taken away from the original
Absolutely.
scripture, which it says not to do, and that's why you have religion.
Yep.
Being a Christian and a Christ follower is not a religion; it's a way of life.
No, it's a way of life. Amen. And when you're not, my thing is, when you're not taking into consideration texts that were written before Jesus was even walking the face of the earth, and you're saying that that's evil, like, what? You're not even taking into consideration that, God would not put us here without any recourse, anything for us to figure things out. And I think we're just scratching the surface. I think, as we progress in this journey, and I hope I'm alive to see it, I'm like, please keep me around I just want to see the unity, right? Because I know it's going to happen. It's just going to take time, and it's going to take people to understand that they have to question any and all things that you may think you know, but you really have no idea. And so to open yourself up to all of these things, and like, there's a CIAD class for the gateway process. That right there proves that we are spiritual beings, and they know it, and they've kept that information from us.
Yep.
So,
but you're talking about less than 3% of the population knows about that stuff.
yeah. It's pretty crazy, right? And so you just have to get to a point where you're like, if people call you crazy, you're cool. Okay, whatever. Or if people tell you you're going to go to hell, okay, well, here's a news flash. I've already been there. Already been there. I lived there for a long time, and I did the work, and I pulled myself out of that pit with the help of God.
Yep. Well, there's a saying, that as a Christian, if I'm right, what's that saying? If I'm right, then sucks to be you. If you're right, no harm, no foul.
Right. I don't know. I've just seen too much. I've, who's giving me the confirmations? It's not man that's giving me the confirmations. It's the Holy Spirit that's giving me confirmations. Whether it's confirmations in the people that I cross paths with. And I truly believe that a lot of us are really walking messengers, where we're meant to give a message that we didn't have any idea that we were giving, right?
Absolutely.
And this is why we have to get talking again, and people have to learn patience, because, like, we're at war, and war doesn't happen overnight. And I think humanity's winning, Team Humanity's winning, but by the way, have you been down the rabbit hole of the reptilian?
No, I haven't gone too far down that one yet.
Yeah, that one's an interesting one. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense if you think about it.
Okay.
Because, I mean, some of the stuff we're seeing is just weird. Like, and like, are we in a divine simulation? Are we in this kind of a Truman Show? Are we? There's so many questions, right? Like, what is going on? Where are we? Is the Earth flat? Is the Earth round? Like, what's all of this? And yeah. And here's the thing: you don't have to make a decision. You just remain open. And does it affect my life right now? No. I mean, there's certain things that I do want to know, and so I do with that. But I think being open to hearing people's perspectives is so important in these times, and that we shouldn't be calling people that have a perspective because maybe they've done so much research in that area that they're a conspiracy theorist. I don't think that's fair. I think that we need to remain open and receptive to any and all information.
Yeah, I agree. You got to be open.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can even talk about the moon landings. That'll be a fun episode.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What was it? Arizona or Utah? I can't remember. Or no, that was Mars. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, well, you had Buzz Aldrin who said it didn't happen.
I know. Don't take his word for it.
I mean, yeah. It's,
Don't listen to that guy.
Sometimes, and here's the thing. Sometimes you have to really understand who your audience is, too. Because there's a lot of people that, that they have this cognitive dissonance because they're not open. And I'm just like, okay, because, I mean, you go through that journey where it's like, I know I'm right, but okay.
Yep.
And you're just like, okay. Hopefully we'll all get on the same page. I don't know. All I know is I want to be on the side of love and light. That's it. I'm not going to be on the side of hate. I'm not going to be, picking sides. I'm sitting back. I'm observing. And if it comes into look, by all means, I'm all about love and light, but I'm also fuck around and find out.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm a constitutionalist, and I understand my rights, and I understand that man does not give me my freedom. It's God that gives me my freedom and my sovereignty. That's right. And if you want to you want to fuck around, you're going to find out. Because let me tell you something. I have angels that protect me and they guide me. And I believe that and I know it to be. So, and I think anybody that walks with God and the Holy Spirit, they have the same. Like,
That's right.
when you step into that life and you try to you walk the right path and you try to be loving and patient and kind, that's a vibration. It's a vibe. And, you start to attract that and you attract people that are like-minded. And I just think it's such an important thing,
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. 100%.
Yeah. It's all good.
It is all
So
good.
I don't know. I've been sitting and contemplating and thinking, and I'm just like, I don't know how long it's going to go, and I don't know, like, where I'm supposed to be. Am I supposed to stay here? Like, I just take it day by day at this point.
That's all you can do.
I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to sit back and worry about my circumstances, because there's only so much that I can control, But I will tell you, it's getting a little bit exhausting with it's crazy. I moved to Boise. I moved here. The Florida thing, and just I was traveling there for a long time, and then being laid off, and I had my shoulder surgery. I was off for 6 weeks, and then, or not 6 weeks, 6 months, and then I went back to work, and then I went back to work for a while, and then that contract ended in May of 23, and I've just never seen the market like this, so I know something's going on with big pharma and research, and they're not developing as much as they were, and there's a reason for it. So it's just been a little challenging, and I don't really want to be in that industry anymore. So that's why I'm trying to get this going. It's just a little challenging,
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Well, what? Let's go.
Let's go.
There's nothing stopping us. Nothing stopping you. Let's go.
Ain't no stopping us.
That's right.
Yep.
Do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Jamie, I gotta go.
All right, honey. All right, take care of yourself, and until next time, let me know. And
all right,
let's get back on here.
Let's do it again. Let me know when.
You got it.
We're just touching the surface.
We are just scratching the surface here.
All right, girl. Keep in touch.
All right, you take care of yourself.
Okay, you too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, you beautiful souls, for tuning in to Harness the Shift. We hope this conversation sparks something deep within you. Remember, the real shift happens when you choose to live soul-centered, awake, and free. We're honored to be a part of your journey. Thank you so much to our sponsor, LifeWave, for supporting the show and helping us continue to bring these transformative conversations to you. Be sure to check out the link in the description to learn more about the cutting-edge wellness technology. Stay connected, stay sovereign, and above all, keep evolving. Until next time, harness the shift.